Good morning and welcome to our ELED 361 Social Science for Elementary Teachers class. I just want to introduce myself. My name is Betsy Shamber and I'm going to be your instructor for this course this semester. So first I just want to welcome you and just ask you to reach out if you have questions throughout this semester. An online course can be a little bit more convenient sometimes, but sometimes it's difficult in terms of communication or feeling like you're on your own. So I'm going to walk you through the D2L page and give you some opportunities to get to know the site and what's expected of you this semester, and then also just to remind you to reach out if you have any questions. So first of all of that contact information for myself is listed here on the D2L site. It gives you my office hours when I will be on campus. It also gives you my phone number. Here's my cell phone, but this is also the Kennedy Center office phone. Here's my email, which is probably the easiest way to reach me. But then also just a reminder that I have great intentions of responding quickly within 24 hours, but on a holiday or weekend, it might be a little bit longer. So keep that in mind when you're emailing me. You might not get an immediate response, but I will get back to you. And then also anytime we have any type of assignment, I will try my very best to be giving you feedback within a week of that. While we're on D2L, I want to hop over to a couple of really important links here. This is the course syllabus. This gives you a really good overview of exactly what we're going to be doing this semester, what our content standards are. It gives you the time frames and a tentative timeline of when we will be going through each component of social studies. So please take time to read through this. There are 2 books that you are required to have for this course, and we'll be starting off the semester with them. So the first one is Everything You Need to Ace World History in One Big Fat Notebook, and the second one, Everything You Need to Ace American History in One Big Fat Notebook. These 2 are both middle level books that are a little bit more like graphic notebooks. They're going to walk you through some really important information, but it's not quite as heavy and detail oriented. So I hope that they will work. We're also going to be using a program called 240 Tutoring, and that program is essentially to help us work through the content in order to help you master and pass that social studies subtest for the praxis test. So that's our goal. Our goal is to make you great content, knowledgeable teachers, but also we want you to be able to pass that social studies praxis. And historically, that tends to be a really tough one. Social studies is a subject area that sometimes students really feel like they have a lot that they need to learn in a short amount of time. So this course might feel a little overwhelming in that it's got a lot of information, a lot of details. So we're going to do everything we can to give you as many ways to learn it as you can. So hopefully whichever type of learner you are, whether you learn by reading, learn by watching, learn by hearing, that you have some opportunities to do all of those things to get those course content information to stick. Down here, it gives you an idea of some of our communication information, our standards, and then we'll get to the grading that we use for this content area. Here's our grading policy and some information about that. And then also we have a tentative course outline and schedule. This is subject to change. There's a lot there, and it'll just kind of depend on how our semester is going, but this gives you an idea of how we're going to move through the semester. That's what my plan is. It might change, and I'll let you know if it does change. You'll always be aware of what's due for you and what you're required to do for the week. So don't worry too much if what I'm putting here is not matching what we're doing on D2L. What we do on D2L is what we'll follow. So after you've read the course syllabus, I would like you to click on the next link there, which is a welcome to class link. It's a little bit of a Google slide Nearpod that'll walk you through just some expectations. Some of the expectations it might talk about a little bit are like when you write, to write professionally with correct grammar, correct spelling, correct punctuation. If you send myself or another classmate an email, just to remember to put the name of this class in that email and also your first and last name before you address the question or concern that you might have. It just talks about navigating D2L. It does discuss the fact that you need to make sure that you are following that calendar and make sure you have your coursework in on time because they do not accept late work. So that would be a really important thing for you to stay on top of. Give yourself plenty of time. Don't leave that to the last minute because things come up. And if you have planned ahead and you give yourself plenty of time to do those assignments, then little things that are bumps in the road won't affect you in a big way. if you wait until the 11th hour to do your homework, you might run into some of those issues, and it may affect your success in the class. So please make sure you take a second to go through all of this welcome information and expectations. And if you have questions about that, let me know. Onto our D2L site, there are some things that you should note here on this home page. First of all, our calendar, which will just kind of show you your due dates down here. And then what is probably the most important part is our content. Our content is listed in a couple places. It's here on the home page by week. You can also find it up here in the nav bar under content. When you click on it from the home page, you're going to see an abbreviated view of what's due. And that's kind of nice. It just gives you a little bit of a list, sort of like a checklist, if you will. But there are details that go with that. You can find the details by clicking on each one of these individually, and it'll bring you to the detailed link with information about your expectations for each assignment. For example, here, you're doing a Flipgrid, and it tells you what things you need to tell me in the Flipgrid. It gives you the class code, and it also reminds you if you can't get logged in, just to click in as a guest and use this password. So you'd want to click into those to make sure that you look at what are the details behind the assignments. If you look at it under the Content tab, it'll look just a little bit different. Same information, just listed out all for you here. So if you click into the links here, it'll give you that same information and those details. So sometimes we'll be using things that will require submissions. For example, this Ancient Civilizations Google slide is going to be your first assignment outside of this Flipgrid, and it's going to require you to drop something in Dropbox. So I'm going to show you where those things are. Up here on the D2L site, under the Assessment tab, if you click on that, here's Dropbox. Dropbox, when you click into that, is going to have a folder for you to upload your assignment. And so this would be the folder for that first assignment. And when you click into that, it's going to ask you to upload a document. This is really important. You don't want to upload an editable document. So think Google Slide or a Google document. You want to download that into a PDF or a Microsoft Word page before you upload that here so that it's not editable. So please be sure that you do that when you upload your assignment. Also under this assessment tab, this is where you can check your grades, see how you're doing, see where you're at. And if we have any tests or quizzes, they'll be linked here as well. For your resources, there's a calendar that's also on the homepage. It's the same thing, just a different link. This is a place for you to find a class list of who else is in this class with you this semester. And here's a link to the South Dakota Social Studies Standards. That's just a really good resource and gives us an idea of why do we need to know what we need to know. Our hope is that you are building yourself towards being a content sufficient teacher, and this gives you the standards as to like where would you use those in 6th grade and 5th grade and 4th grade. So it's just something that we might refer to. This also gives you a reference link to the timeline. This is just an expanded view of that timeline that you see on the syllabus. And the nice thing about this is it gives you some links. So for those of you that want to start getting ready for the praxis, it not only gives you what we're planning to do out of our book or for assignments that week, but it also gives you some videos that might go along with some of the things that we are going to be talking about. So for example, in these first 3 units, we're going to be talking about ancient Egypt as one of the chapters. So if you're somebody that's a real visual or auditory learner, you can also click in here and watch and listen. For some people, that's just an easier way for them to learn. But these are all not going to be assignments necessarily, but they'll help you build your content knowledge for that praxis test. So I'll try to plug in review links, videos, anything here that might help you out. So kind of keep that in mind. And that's up here on that nav bar, and that is editable. So as I find things and change it, it'll change in real time for you. We're going to be using 240 Tutoring. 240 Tutoring is a site that is going to help us study and get ready for the praxis. And you will receive your login and password next weekend for that, because we have a time frame. We can only give this to you for 4 months. So we want to make sure that you have access to this the entire semester. So you'll get your login and passwords from me next weekend, and you'll be required during week 2 to get that set up and start using that. And we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get there. I'll make a video about how to do that. Back to the course home, a couple of other things I want to remind you of. When we have content will always be distributed or opened on a Wednesday morning. This week is the only exception because we're starting school on a Monday. It's open a little bit early for you, but otherwise it will almost always be open on a Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. and your assignment will be due the following Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. So for this week, it's open on a Monday, and then you have a little extra time because it's not due till next Tuesday. But for next week, then it will open on Wednesday, January 20th, and it will be the following Tuesday at 11:59. I can't stress enough, don't leave this until Tuesday evening at 10 o'clock to try to get your assignments done. You won't have enough time, and it'll compromise your quality of work. And I really want you to make sure that you are thinking about this course not as just something to get finished, but as a way to build your content knowledge towards being able to pass that praxis and be a competent teacher. And so don't worry just about the points, worry about what am I doing to be the best teacher that I can be. If you go in with that attitude, you will be great. I think that's everything for right now, but I would just say, please reach out, contact me if you have any questions or concerns. I'd be happy to visit with you. I wish you all the best. I want you to be successful, and I'll do everything I can on my end to make that happen. But I'm excited to have you with me this semester, and I hope that it's a great one. Take care.